Welcome back to The Collaborative, the podcast for young professionals in Michigan's credit union industry who are out here trying to connect, grow, and basically take over the cooperative finance universe, one episode at a time. As always, we're powered by Fuel Michigan, because even podcasts need a hype squad. Whether you're tuning in on your commute, at your desk pretending to look very productive, or with a cup of coffee that may or may not be your second or your third, I'm really glad you're here. I'm your host, Camille. Now let's get into it before your coffee gets cold. Today, we're thrilled to have Chelsea McKenzie join us. Chelsea is a community relations specialist at Members First Credit Union and brings over 6 years of experience in the credit union industry. Her work focuses on building meaningful relationships and driving community impact. In today's episode, we're going to dive into the unique role credit unions play in empowering underdeserved communities, explore strategies to highlight what credit unions are all about, and discuss how we can preserve our core values and mission while embracing partnerships with platforms. Chelsea's insights promise to spark ideas on how we can stay true to our roots and while innovating for the future. Welcome.
Hello.
How are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
Good. Before we really dive in, what has your credit union journey been like? I know that you've been in the industry for 6 years and you're at Member First, but that's about all I know because I haven't gotten to meet you in person. So talk to
Yeah.
us about it.
Yeah. So honestly, my credit union journey has been completely unexpected. I went into college for marketing and I was working at a place called J Sporting Goods selling firearms in Clare. And I had no plans of going into anything in the finance industry. But at the time, a team member at the credit union kept coming into J's and they kept saying, you should really apply at the credit union. So I did eventually and started as a teller with no experience. And about a year in, I realized how much I loved the culture and the people. And I wanted to use my marketing degree. So I applied a few times for roles in the marketing department and didn't get them. But then a new community relations position opened and I took a chance and I applied and I got it to my surprise. And it started with just me and my leader at the time. And together we built the foundation for what's now our community impact department. And watching it grow into something that genuinely connects us to the communities has been one of the most rewarding experiences of my career. And I'm not sure, when is this airing? Because starting Monday, I am now the community impact leader. So I am like so
Oh,
excited. I didn't see this coming, even this part of it. Like I never envisioned myself in this position and then to then be considered for a leadership position and get it. So yeah,
congratulations.
yeah.
That's huge. What is your favorite part about it? Oh, I mean, I love community impact. I love helping other people, and that's just acts of service is who I am. But like, what is your favorite part about it, and what do you feel you gain the most?
I think my favorite part is not every day is the same. And there's so many challenges and I love a good challenge. Anything that's going to push me outside my comfort zone, anything that's going to cause me to problem solve and dig in a deeper level. And I feel like that's what community impact is every day looks different. Every day there's a new challenge that I might be faced with. Every day is a piece of the puzzle I'm trying to help solve. And whether that is going out and volunteering or just like diving into a nonprofit and what are they doing and how can we spread the word about them, that collaborative effort between credit unions and their communities, I think that's my favorite
I
part.
love that. I love seeing what credit unions can do in general. You think, oh, they're just a lot of people with that misconception of, oh, they're just there for profits. No, we want to make our community better.
Absolutely.
How can we, I guess the best way to say it is, how do you think we can highlight that human side of credit unions, that we are people, we are here to help with the community, we do want you to grow? How can we highlight that to people who don't necessarily know what we're about?
I think this is a common question, and I feel it's about showing up and sharing stories. And I feel like that's something we hear a lot. But when we're visible in our communities and not just a logo on a billboard, but as people volunteering, mentoring, supporting local causes, it really shows our heart. We should also highlight the real people behind the credit union scene, our members, our team members, and the impact we're making together. Social media can be a powerful space for that, like quick videos and member spotlights or even behind the scenes clips that humanize who we are and what we stand for. At Members First, we do this by creating in the life videos of different team members. So I know I've had one. Josh Buck is a familiar name. He's had one where our social media team follows us around for the day and then posts these out. So, the world can see like who are your credit union team members and who's helping you and who's behind the scenes. I
I
think
love that.
it's a really good way. Yeah.
It's like the get ready with me videos or like the 5 to 9 before my 9 to 5 or something.
Yeah, yep, exactly.
Well, why are those so addicting to watch though? Like,
I
why am I that curious person who wants to know what everybody else is doing? Like, that's actually genius. I think that's a big thing that people don't realize either is we're just like them. People think, oh, you work in finances, you're hoity-toity, what? I don't drive a brand new car. My house isn't brand new. I'm struggling with you.
Yeah, and I think, you know, I think a lot of credit unions are also doing this. We just started doing it this last year, but dressing for our day. And it used to be like we showed up to work in, full business apparel, but our
Mhm.
members aren't those members coming in, right? Our
Yep.
members are, your Alice population, and they don't want to come in and feel intimidated by, their teller or anybody in their credit union space. So we started dressing for our day. And I think that's made a real big difference to our members too, because we're just like them.
I think we did that 2 years ago. Our dress code went to you can wear jeans. You don't have to have dress pants because a lot of ours were either Alice or blue collar workers. We started in a factory and you can tell as somebody who worked in the dressing in business casual or business versus dressing a little bit more casual, you can tell the interactions are a little bit different. And not in a bad way. It's more they're more comfortable to talk to you about their struggles even or they're more forthcoming about I need help.
Yeah,
I
I
realize
agree.
that. How do you think we can resonate with millennials, Gen Zs? I guess Gen Alpha is getting up there too, which is wild to the millennial brain in me. To kind of resonate with them and let them know other than I mean, obviously social media, but do you have any other ideas how we might be able to?
Well, one thing that's really worked well for us at Members First, at least, is getting out into the community in ways that feel more like casual and authentic. We do
Mhm.
coffee pop up events at local coffee shops, and people just love to stop by and grab coffee and chat with us in a very low key environment where we're just hanging out and we're not pitching products. We're just connecting with members, saying hi. Sometimes we'll bring in people that are in that branch areas, like in the branch, that are helping them.
Mhm.
And so those people are seeing their tellers and they're saying, "Hey," and like talking outside of that work setting. But I think it shows that we're genuinely invested in their community. And we've seen that kind of energy at other initiatives too, like food drives or school supply donations or volunteering. I think with younger generations, it's more about experiences and seeing brands, or in our case, the credit unions, basically walk the talk. So when we show up and we make a real impact, people start to see us for more than a place to just store money. They see us as, partners in the community, helping people achieve their goals and giving back in ways that actually matter to them.
How do you feel about as there's that barrier, Cash App, Venmo, all of these? How do you think because I know that's a big one too. Well, I can just Venmo and send it to you. It's easier than Zelle, or that is a huge one.
Yeah, I think the generation is also into like very, very fast, right? So, and
Yeah.
I think Venmo and Cash App are on the ball with that. I think the biggest barrier is just the perception. A lot of younger people don't really understand what a credit union is. I know, at least at Members First with our old logo, I don't know if you've ever seen it before. It was burgundy and it looks like an old person logo. I don't even have one right here to even show you. But it looked like an old person logo. And, I was always grown up. I never banked here. I've lived in this community my whole life. I never stepped foot in here until I started working here, and it's because I thought you couldn't bank here. I thought it was like your grandma had to get you in, and I honestly thought that. And that was what, even 10 years ago, 6, 7 years ago. So I don't know. I think they just think it's, just another bank. I don't think they realize what credit unions do. Venmo and Cash App feel simple and fast and they're built into their daily life. And I think credit unions haven't always done the best job of showing that we can just be as convenient and tech forward while still being personal and people centered. And I think at the end of the day, Gen Z and millennials in specific, they want that transparency and flexibility, and I think that's what we're built on, but we just need to tell that story better in ways that are relevant to them.
Yeah, I agree to that. And I'm one of the people that want it to be fast. Like ACH transaction, I have to wait 2 days? No.
Yeah.
Or you ask them, what is a check? You ask my 10-year-old cousin what a check is. And she's like, I don't know.
And it's actually kind of terrifying if you think about it for like a smaller credit union, right? Did you say we're bigger
I'm
than?
pretty sure you are. Harborly is, I think our last I checked was 170 million. 170?
Okay,
I can't remember.
we're over 800. million,
Yeah.
almost to the billion point. But
Yeah.
like even us, we find challenges. I mean, I don't consider us that big, but I'm looking at, the bigger fish in the pond, I guess. But
Yeah.
I don't consider us that big and we still have challenges. But coming from like you with a smaller credit union, like the challenges that these smaller credit unions are facing with technology and being able to invest in those things that the younger generation wants is terrifying to me because, it's harder for the smaller credit unions to get in there.
I think, and when we want to partner with tech platforms and tech companies to make it easier, then it comes vendor oversight and then having to figure it out. And does this company share our values? Are they going to be able to keep that up?
Yeah.
Like that's what's scary. And it's fun though. I noticed I had a card with another credit union and I was actually very proud of Harbor Light because I didn't want to get out of bed because it was the middle of the night and I was Black Friday shopping and I wanted to get my credit card. And so I just went to their app and I couldn't get my card number. But at Harbor Light, I'm able to get my digital card number. And I was like, look at us, go small credit union.
It's
Thank,
awesome.
thank you for enabling my laziness in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big thing that all of us wanna do. Sometimes you don't wanna get up and do it or even touch to pay, Apple Pay. That's another big one.
Yeah, and I mean, you said it right there. That's what the younger generation wants. I mean, I do have Apple Pay and I have an Apple card because of how seamless it all is with Apple. And I mean, it's not to say I don't also have cards here at our credit union, but it is easier for me to use my Apple Pay and it's easier for me to just pull out my Apple card. And you start talking about like the benefits that you get with different things. And I can't really speak much to like how that process works, but yeah, there's cards that I choose over our credit union cards specifically because I'm going to have better, rewards or benefits that come from it. Yeah, how do credit unions get ahead of that curve or like even play in the same ball field? I think all that's going to matter to the younger generation.
100%, especially when you have other credit cards that, their cash back is higher or, yeah, my interest rate is low, but if I'm gonna pay off my card at the end of the month anyways, what's the point of just taking a lower interest rate when I can get free airfare?
Right.
Or vice versa. Like, I
Right.
think it'll be interesting to see, and I'm very much addicted to the touch to pay, Apple Pay. Like, it's just easier. I
Hmm.
go back to visit a small town in Colorado that I lived in, and I remember I'm in the grocery store every single time they don't do it, and my friend is laughing at me, like, "You have become too used to your conveniences." Yes, I have, okay? Where?
Right. Yeah.
How do you think going back to bringing awareness, we're in the communities, what are ideas possibly that you had, or have you heard, or what you think would help really shift that other than just being community? Because you are community engagement and we do that. But are there any other ways you think that maybe we can push it?
I think the idea of a credit union for life approach in general, meeting people where they are in every season, from
Mhm.
like a student savings account to a first car loan and then a mortgage and maybe eventually a business or retirement planning and making sure we're there every step of the way because they're building that trust with us. If we
Mhm.
position credit unions more as like lifelong partners and not just these financial institutions, I think we start changing those perceptions a little bit. And it's about showing that we're not just where the money sits, like in a bank, but where your goals are growing and where your communities thrive because we're investing back into the communities. And when we support those members' dreams, we're also investing in their neighborhoods, their schools, and their local businesses. And that all makes the community stronger. I was in CU Spark Tank just the first one this
Yeah.
last year. And that was a big reason of why I pitched student loans. And it was such a small scale of a student loan. But I
Mhm.
feel like credit unions, we're missing an opportunity for younger people. We typically will get those, like, youth accounts, but then what happens to those youth accounts? Because I feel like a lot of the time, they're not sticking with us through the whole journey, so, like and a lot of that, I think, is that middle step of a student loan. For getting them as they're young, and then if they do decide to go to college, whether it's, like, a traditional or non-traditional college route, they're usually going somewhere that's gonna give them a student loan, and a lot of time, it's the banks or some, other parties that are out on the internet and then they're not coming back to us. So we're skipping that step and keeping them. And so I don't know. I think that lifelong journey is important, but I think getting those students while they're younger and keeping them there and showing them like we're here through every journey that you're going to go through, starting with your college life and beyond.
I didn't even think about student loans even being
And when I
yeah.
pitched it, it wasn't a full student loan. I realized very quickly there's a lot of risk that comes with student loans.
Oh, yeah.
But when I pitched it, it was, if you're a non-traditional student, like, how do we help the Alice population maybe go to nursing school? Let's finish out nursing school, or let's say we actually had a team member here at Members First when I was practicing my pitch. This team member came up to me and he goes, I really wish we had something like that a few years ago because my laptop died and I had no way to finish my exam. But if I could have gotten $1,500 to then get a laptop to finish, I could have finished college, stuff like that. That's where I think we could capture more young people. I keep kind of reverting back to young people because I think we need to get them
Yeah.
to the credit union and keep them. And I feel like we're missing a crucial part there.
You're Spark Tank. You were one of the ones in Grand Rapids is
Yeah, I
at
made it
the
to the
Future
top
Summit.
5.
Yeah, I was like, I remember hearing this and thinking that was a really good idea. Because
Mm,
student loans, they don't cover everything. As somebody who's had them, they only go so far,
they do. Yeah.
and that would be helpful 100%. I wouldn't even I guess that's my I didn't have financial planning, like, I was never really taught it, until I was 29 starting at a credit union and going, "Well, how I'm doing my budget is not working," and sometimes it still doesn't work, but, we're learning, and I think especially with Michigan and making that a part of the curriculum will help, and I'm hoping maybe that will also help credit unions get a little bit more involved. Do you guys do like student run credit unions or anything similar to that?
We don't do student run credit unions, but I have started just in the last like 2 months making it a priority to get into the schools. We use a program called Bonsai. I'm not sure if you've
Yeah,
heard.
we use it too.
Okay, cool. So do you partner with a certain amount of schools? Okay.
Yeah.
What I'm doing now is we have 11 partner schools and making sure I'm going in and saying, hey, like, we're here for this resource, but we want to come in and talk to you. And we're scheduling out, I think tomorrow we're speaking to 120 students in Saginaw at White Pine Middle School. And
Awesome.
it's really cool because I think that's also going to help the younger generation. We're going to go in and talk to sixth graders. I give them 5 different presentations they get to choose from for their class, and then we go in and do the thing. But I think going in and talking to these students while they're young to talk about financial wellness, but also getting our name out there. Because I want when they get to the point of where are they going to go for their first car loan, where are they going to go for a home loan or whatever they're going to go to a
Mhm.
financial institution for, I want them to remember like Members First Credit Union or any credit union in that fact. Yeah. So no, we don't have student run branches anymore, but I think it's really important that we're getting into the schools and I'm really making an effort now and into 2026 to make that happen.
Yeah, and we do I don't know about you guys, we do, challenges within Bonsai for, like, employees, and we'll do, like, teams, and the team who wins, whatever, they get an hour of PTO each,
Oh,
and
that's awesome.
it's allowed us to use the resource more for all of us to be able to talk about it.
Yeah, that is a really good idea.
We did a whole one, a credit union one. If everybody did it last month, we get a hot chocolate and cookie bar or something. So we're having that next week. But that's how we also help with it.
That's really cool.
It's kind of addicting to do. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's because I like to learn. I'm like, oh yeah, I'll learn more.
I think that's really cool because I think people are nervous to go and talk about financial education. And I think this goes back to like a lot of our team members now are, they're younger generation. I'm 30. A lot of them are younger than me coming in now. And, I'm not kind of like you. Like I learned kind of late in life my own finances and I'm still learning. Like, how do I balance all these things and learning
Hmm.
different ways of budgeting and all that. And I think the younger generation, they're at more of a disadvantage because maybe they don't really know either and they're learning for the first time. So even getting team members to go out and actually do these presentations at school, which are pretty simple. They're like intro to credit, like 50, 30, 20 rule, different things like that.
Yeah,
I think they're nervous. I think they're nervous because they're scared they don't know what they're talking about. So doing something like that where it gets them looking at the material is just a really good idea.
it's a way to remind them that you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
I like that. We got rid of student run branches with COVID, and then it's never. I think COVID did a number on us more than we even would think.
Yeah.
It's been interesting to see. And also technology itself. I don't necessarily know if student run credit unions would be, I guess, up to date anymore just because of how much like going to speak and talk about bonsai and doing that, I feel is probably a little bit more conducive to the mission than just a student run branch.
Yeah.
It's been I've had a few people. I had a cousin, a little cousin who was in it, who keeps asking me about it, and I was like, "Dude, you survived COVID. You know nothing survived COVID. Like, it's I'm sorry."
Yeah. I don't even
Um,
know how they were ran. I was not in the era of we did have I don't know if we just had 1 or a couple. We had them in Midland, but I wasn't here for that, so I don't even know how they were
we
ran.
we had 2. We had 1 for Whitehall and 1 for Montague. Well, I guess we had 4 technically because we had 1 in each of their entries and then 1 in each of their high schools, and they skipped middle school because I guess when they were setting it up, they realized that middle schoolers are just they don't care. I can remember thinking I was cool in middle school and, like, I didn't care. And then high school, and they had, like, a separate area. Like, I know in Whitehall High School, there's, like, a little it's like a booth or something in, like, the main lobby area. It's totally not set up how my high school was. I don't know even how to describe it. But they had, like, a drawer, like a physical little cash box with locks where kids could do deposits, and they would take them and fill out slips, and then they would come back later in the day and then, like, actually process the transaction. And I feel like that's not I mean, we can go out and I can take my work laptop and set up my mobile hotspot and hop on the VPN and open somebody's account right then and there, where it's totally different.
Right.
It's still wild to me. I can't handle it sometimes. Besides schools and education, what are some of your other focuses with the community impact? Or what makes your heart the happiest doing?
I think what makes my heart the happiest is I will stand forever that I think a lot of people like to work at credit unions for the give back, and I wanna make sure that we're doing that in every community. We have 12 branches for opening Bay City in hopefully the summer of
That's good.
2026, but that is public knowledge now, and I
Ooh,
wanna make sure that we are serving every branch area's team members, like, where do they wanna serve? What do they like to do? I think that's my biggest focus right now is how do we learn about each communities? We have such a vast majority of different communities. We got, like, northern area, we have city life, we have the Midland, Saginaw Bay area. It's such a wide variety that we can't do the same thing in all spaces, and not everybody likes to do the same thing. So I think that's my big focus. Like, let's find things that our team members like to do to keep them engaged with the credit union and wanting to be here. And then financial literacy has been a really, really hot topic for me just because, like I said, I just think it's so important in keeping the younger generation with us and getting our name out there. Those are my probably 2 biggest right now.
how do you we don't so Harborlane only has 2 branches. We have our main office and then another branch that is literally 5 miles away. So we're always able to be like in a biweekly like like how I guess I'm curious as how do you track that or how are you able to, especially if you have 12 that are scattered so far? Because like Claire is one spot, the city is another. How does that kind of look?
Yeah, it's a lot of talking. I've been in this role for 5 years now. A lot of talking to the branch leaders, a lot of talking to team members and getting to know them. At the time, it was me and my leader at the time, and we kinda split, Midland area, and then I took all the rest of them, and now that she's gone, I've kinda taken on Midland Bay and Saginaw, and it's I find partnerships. So, I know in Grand Rapids, we really like the AYA. We have, pillars that we kinda stick under housing, education, and wellness, and so they fit really well with our housing initiative. So, AYA and Kids Food Basket in Grand Rapids are 2 that I lean on a lot. I took a year to really get to know those organizations, and now I feel comfortable doing rotating things with them, and that's how I run. Every year, I go into a new community. So, in 2025, Pleasant, Isabella County, and Hull, we have 2 branches in Mount Pleasant. I really put a focus on, which is crazy because I grew up here. So I go to Mount Pleasant, that's where I do my grocery shopping, and I didn't know all the organizations there. So I really spent a lot of time this year putting focus on them, finding those organizations, talking to the branches, talking to the leaders in Mount Pleasant, and figuring out what can we do to make this easier for everyone and make like a rotating volunteering opportunity every year. What events are we going to show up to year after year? What organizations are we going to invest in more deeply than others? And that's kind of how I roll. So this next year, I'm putting a focus in the Saginaw and Bay area. The year after that, it might be Ever. I just pick a area every year and I put a lot of focus. But that's not to say I don't still look at other areas. I
Yeah.
kinda split up my calendar to, like, chunks, like, what's going on in Gladwin, what's going on in Everett, what's going
Mhm.
on, in Grand Rapids, and Yeah, I think I'm just really good at time management and multitasking. That's what I've
Yeah.
come up with.
I feel like that would take a lot of multitasking and time management.
Yeah,
I
and,
think
a lot of it too is I'm just really passionate about this, so I retain a lot of it, when I'm listening, I'm retaining a lot of what people are telling me about their communities. I'm remembering things. It's not something that I'm, like, having to, like, dig back in notes to find, and I don't know if that makes sense, but it makes me think of, like, if somebody were to talk to me about, like, card services, for instance, I'm gonna forget a lot of card service things because it's not a passion of mine, but because this is such a passion, I put a lot of, like, my time and effort into it, and so I retain a
mhm,
lot of what I'm learning, which makes
I
it
think that makes sense. I feel passion always fuels us anyway, so we're gonna pay more attention. We're gonna wanna do more. I'm the same way with card services or certain things. I'm like, huh?
yeah,
I don't remember that, but okay. But I'll remember random things like from 2 years ago of an organization I talked to.
right.
What going that we talked about what makes your heart sing. Is there like a specific moment that you could pinpoint early on in your career or even later that you're like, yeah, this is why I love doing what I do, or a specific interaction?
That is such a tough question because there were so many moments, even
I
in a
know.
single week, that make me think this.
I know.
But I
Same
think,
here.
honestly, the moments that really stand out to me are the ones where we're doing things together. When I came into the credit union space, I came from Jay's, who was in competition with some other sporting goods stores. And so I had this competitive mindset. And I still did probably up until about 3 years ago. I was like, oh, we got to do this better than this credit union or, X, Y, and Z. But I think what stands out to me now and what I've realized is that credit unions come together to make really big things happen. And that is so special because we aren't competing and we all want the same thing and we want our communities to thrive and we want to spread joy. And a great example of this in specific is Impact Saginaw. With Impact Saginaw, it's just like a collaborative of a bunch of credit unions who come together to make things happen. We just did with them, and we just got welcomed into this because now that we're in the Saginaw area, so I'm just now learning about it. But we did a huge food drive in response to the SNAP benefit pause thing that was happening, and so many organizations came together to make a really big impact, and I thought that was really cool. And they also do something right now at Covenant Healthcare in Saginaw where they're coming together to do a light show for kids and people in the hospital to bring them holiday cheer. And they do that. It's like the lights before Christmas. It's like every week leading up to Christmas. And I
That's
just think,
amazing.
and it's credit unions running this, right? And then over summer, they had a food drive, not a food drive. It was like a food giveaway, like
Uh-huh.
the team and they got free food. And they did it every week in the summer. And again, this was just credit unions coming together to make this happen. And that's what sticks out to me. And it's not one moment, but it's a lot of moments of looking back and saying, wow, like look at us credit unions coming together to make a big impact instead of being competitive. And I could even argue that with like the credit union league and how they really bring a lot of the credit unions together to collaborate and have great ideas. I mean, could you imagine? I've never worked at a bank, so maybe I shouldn't say this, but could you imagine like if you worked at a bank and they didn't want to share what was working well for them with another bank because they're in competition?
Oh, they won't.
Exactly. So I just feel like it's great. And I went to Hike the Hill just this last one and I met some incredible people in the community impact realm. And I hardly ever meet anybody in community impact. I feel like it's not something I feel like is very common yet. And they were just so happy to share with me their contact information, things that have worked well for them, things that haven't worked well for them, to just help me in my role. And I think that's really cool. So no, it's not one thing. I just think the collaborative is something that sticks out to me the most.
I think that is the main theme with like everybody I talk to is collaboration. I don't think there are very many, if any, other industries that are so well okay with it. And I mean, I've even at fuel events have, oh, this is how I do it. And I've quite literally have sent copies of checklists that I've made or spreadsheets of like, this is how I track it to other credit unions because let's help each other. Let's not just hoard all the wealth or all of the knowledge. I don't feel that does anything.
Yeah, and even when they're, like, small ideas, just like you mentioning the bonsai and how you get more engagement with that, that's a really good
Mm,
idea that I think I'm gonna take back and be like, "How can we do that?" And
do it.
that yeah, that's what makes it so special, though. So, like, I don't know, that's the thing that sticks out to me. That's probably the biggest reason I wake up every day and come to work and want to be here is because I know I'm coming here and we're going to make a difference, whether it's microscopic or ginormous. But no matter what, I'm never going to be in a competition with another credit union because we all want the greater good for our communities.
Yeah. And even those little microscopic moments, they still add up to one giant one, even if it's just a smile. Like, yeah, I love it. Community impact is something that so not in my wheelhouse. Like I'm compliance. I am the BSA girly and like telling people, hey, you didn't do this right. But community impact is a big one that I do love. And I'm constantly asking our marketing department, like, hey, what are we doing? Can I do this next? Or at every little event.
Yeah.
You're right. We are collaborative. It's the best part of us.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for joining me and talking. It's
Yeah. Thank you for
all
making this so easy and comfortable. I had no idea what
so
to
good.
expect. This was great.
I think I am pretty easy and comfortable to talk to. I try really hard, even just being the BSA and the compliance person. Like, I don't think I'm intimidating. And we just chat and have fun.
Yeah. I loved it.
So,
Thank you so much for
yay.
inviting